Yo, what's up, my people? I'm going to do a quick video reaction here. Andrew Tate on Fox News with Tucker Carlson. Looking forward to this one. Let's see what he's got to say for himself. Let's go straight in there.
Until a couple months ago, we'd never heard of him. And then the other day, virtually every tech company on the planet banned him. Not just his presence, but also his ability to conduct business on the internet. He was taken off Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all of it. Then they started telling you that not only was he not allowed to talk, but that you weren't allowed to like him because he was an incredibly bad person. And our view on that always is we'll decide for ourselves, since we're adults and Americans, and we'll listen to anyone we want.
True.
We'll come to any conclusion we care to come to.
True.
About what that person is about. So we sat down at some length and talked to Andrew Tate, and we wanted to show you some of it so you could make up your own mind, which you're still allowed to do as far as we're concerned.
True.
Here's part of the interview.
I don't really feel like I've exposed anything. Like, I'm truly not a very political person. This is the first time someone's experienced this level of ban. I'm not particularly right-wing. I don't vote. I mean, I obviously have my own personal views, but they didn't ban me for that. They banned me simply because I had large swaths of the population agreeing to very traditional masculine values. Teenage men and young men, 22, 23, 24, were looking up to me and aspiring to be like me. I have a very...
Facts. He's right. He says traditional masculine values, and that is true. That is what he stands for. I know a lot of people are using the word misogynist, but at the end of the day, I would probably describe this guy as having traditional masculine values. Where you sit on that bar, it could either be extreme values, it could either be sort of, conservative values. And he is right. Loads of young kids, even I see on my YouTube, are supporting this guy heavily. So fair enough. I like the way he starts to this. Let's see what else he's got to say.
Very traditionally masculine life. I have fast cars and a big house and a lot of money and a beautiful girlfriend. And they thought this was very, very threatening. And for some reason, they decided that it's better if they annihilate me from the internet and replace me with somebody who's more aligned with whatever they're trying to purport.
Tell us what your message is to young men.
Yeah, so I think that being a man is very, very difficult. I think that men's issues are largely overlooked.
Facts.
The people in charge of the world pretend to care, but when somebody who's champion...
Who's in charge of the world? That's the question. Apparently, it's the big banking families, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, these families that have been in existence for a long time, for 100 years, and have owned the banking systems and had set up the central banking systems. Apparently, the people that control the money in this world have the power. So when he talks about the people who control this world, it's probably the people who control the banking systems, who own these big banking corporations. Because there's a quote which says, "Give me access to a country's money, and I do not care who makes its laws." That's powerful. I don't care who makes the laws. Give me all the money, and I'll make the laws myself. Facts, Tate. Let's keep cracking.
Championing men's issues like myself comes forward and finally manages to garner huge percentiles of the public support. I'm silenced. So they're not really interested in men's issues. And there's a lot of young men growing up today that feel very disaffected. They feel invisible. The agendas that are being forced down their throats are not agendas they align with, or they feel affinity to, or agendas they want. And I basically just say to men, look, it's a very hard life. You're going to need to get up, work hard, go to the gym. Strong body is a strong mind. You're going to have to reject listening blindly to everything you're told, reject the slave mind, think for yourself, get a strong network of brothers, work aside them. Don't tolerate low-quality people in your life, which means don't tolerate men who just smoke drugs and play video games, or men who are disloyal.
Can I just say, I can see Tate is speaking very calmly now. In a lot of his other videos, he was quite aggressive. He was really digging in. But now, I'm starting to like this guy a bit more because he's speaking really calmly, really rationally. Everything he said so far, I agree with. I don't think has been extreme at all. I think he's been quite stern in his views. I'm liking this interview with Tate. Like, he's dropping some nice truth. He's not being super extreme. And this is facts. And this is like calm Tate just sitting back, just saying, look, this is what I believe in. And I like it so far.
Loyal or dishonest. By extension, don't tolerate women or girlfriends who are disloyal or dishonest.
Damn right.
And try and build and create a reality full of high quality people in which you can resist the programming that the Matrix tries to influence you with, and grow up truly happy. And what happens is when I say these things, they ignore 95% of what I say. They ignore me saying that you need to avoid low quality men. And they take the bit where I say avoid women who are dishonest. And then they put it on a reel, a very short 3 or 4 second clip. And then they say I'm a misogynistic person and I'm dangerous to women and I need to be banned. The problem is that the majority of young men in the world today are completely invisible.
Facts.
And social media has made them invisible.
Facts.
If you go into an Instagram feed, you have extremely beautiful women, which is fine. They're beautiful. They're allowed to take pictures. Mm-hmm. But the only men who have followers are men with massive social status, right? Men with Ferraris and money, or rappers, or people who have YouTube channels, interesting people. If you're a normal man with a normal job, you don't really exist in the online world. It's very difficult to get followers. No.
Yo, massive, massive facts, Mr. Tate, bro. It's so true. Like, 1% of men, and actually less than 1% of men, are running the show. Running the show. Now, I knew this when I was 16 years old. I knew I had to have a good body. I knew I needed to be ripped to shreds. I knew I needed to have money. When I'm talking money, I'm talking serious money, not just fake money to just be flossing watches and shit. I knew I needed to have followers. I knew I needed to have some sort of social media presence. If you check out my Instagram, it's at Real Ralph Anthony. I've got like 90k followers. I knew that I needed these things in order to have a level of status in this world, because otherwise women won't even look at me. Well, I'm talking about the high quality women, right? Because that's who I'm after. That's who we're all after. We're all after the high quality, beautiful women. So Tate is speaking facts once again in the sense that, listen, less than 1% of men are the ones getting any of the attention right now. The rest of these men either don't have social media, or they do. They don't have many followers. They might not be the best looking. They're not necessarily ripped. They don't necessarily have money. They don't have the Ferraris. They don't have the yachts. They don't have the lifestyle to show for it. And so, like, women will flock to you if you have that kind of Instagram page with loads of followers. You're looking good. You're looking ripped. You're in, like, you're in Instagram pictures with other girls. Your Instagram stories are interesting, of you traveling all the time. Straight up true, man. Most men are just being completely overlooked, and I feel so sorry for them because the competition is damn stiff. Let's carry on.
Nobody replies to your DMs. You don't really matter. You don't have access to the sexual marketplace. It's very difficult for you to even get any kind of recognition that you're even alive. Mm-hmm. And a lot of men feel lost and lonely because of that. And I was championing to a degree their issues by saying to them, look, that is unfair perhaps, but that's the way the game works. You need to become a man of importance. You need to become a man of influence, or you're going to suffer the pain of being invisible forever. Here is how you do it. I wasn't trying to change the rules of the game. I was just telling the men how to win, because I came from nothing and I'm completely and utterly self-made. Mm-hmm. And I think the reason a lot of men are so depressed is because they feel invisible. They feel like the life is too hard. Women expect me to be strong and smart and funny and interesting with a nice apartment and a fast car and tall and well connected and funny, and it's just too much for them to handle. And the social pressure on men is absolutely immense.
Absolute mad facts. Like I swear this might be my favorite interview with Andrew Tate, and this is why I'm doing a reaction of it. He is just hitting line after line now. What's expected of a man these days, and I speak to loads of women about this, they want everything. They literally want you to be exactly like funny, connected, tall, ripped, charismatic, confident, have followers, be loved by people, be a bit famous, have a nice car, be cool to hang out with, know how to speak properly. Jeez, you want the whole thing. Like every single thing you need to be hitting, and that's hard work. That's a lifetime of work, man. I'm in my mid-30s, and since I was 16, I've been training and doing all of these kind of things, and still I get turned down by some of the best women. And so, obviously there's levels to the game, right? Like Tate is going to be up here driving $5 million cars and in mansions and like flying jets around. I'm not flying jets around, right? I've got a beautiful home, I've got a beautiful car, I've got beautiful women. But like this guy's just obviously take it to the next level. There's obviously levels to the game here, and we're all going to sit at different levels. But he's saying most men are sitting down here at this low level, and it's hard for them. Like no one's looking at them. They feel invincible. Like they feel invisible.
And I was championing their issues. And at the same time, all these social media platforms pretend to care. As soon as somebody they resonate with stands up and champions their issues, they mass blanket ban me, which shows they have absolutely no care for the young men of the world today. They think that by banning me, I'm just going to vanish, and the young men are just going to go and start eating the gruel that they're fed on their YouTube feed. They don't want to read. They don't want to see transgender people wear makeup. They don't want to see that. They want to see a man who has a bunch of money and a nice life and some fast cars and is strong and is confident. They want an action hero, and that's something that large portions of the world still want to be. And YouTube and social media platforms obviously just don't like the idea of that. They want to get rid of me and try and replace me with something they see as far more malleable, trying to create people which are more malleable and more easy to program and more easy to control.
So news accounts in the United States say that the U.S. Embassy in Bucharest, Romania, was tipped off to your misdeeds and alerted the local authorities you might be committing human trafficking. Given that this is the same charge they leveled against Julian Assange or a species of it, skeptical, but I want to know the details. Were you arrested for human trafficking?
Wow.
What happened?
Yeah, I was not arrested. So what happened is I suffered from a case of swatting. It's very popular with people who are large on the internet. Many large YouTubers have been swatted. It's where you call the police and you say somebody has a gun or there's a hostage situation and the SWAT team arrives.
Oh,
somebody made a phone call to the American embassy.
Yo, I did not know this. This is interesting. What the hell happened?
Saying that I was holding women at my house. The police arrived. And let me state this now. I state this openly to the world. I have absolute respect for the police. I would hate to live in a country where if you call the police saying women are being held against their will, that the police don't respond. That would be terrible. Of course they should come and look. Absolutely. They turned up. They investigated. They realized that nobody was in the house against their will. There was no crime committed. They said, okay, you're not a suspect, but you are a witness to this, along with me, my brother, the housekeeper, the gardener. Everybody who was in the premises at the time was labeled a witness. We had to go to the police station for 45 minutes for pieces of paper. We filled them in and we were let go. I was swatted. Nobody was hurt. There's no human trafficking. There's no women who were tied up. There's none of these things. It's all just complete fallacy.
You probably made some of these companies mad with your views on COVID. So sum up for us, if you would, what you think the response to COVID globally did to the populations of the West.
Yeah, so I certainly made them mad with my views on COVID. I don't want to go to conspiracy theory, and I would also never kill myself. Let me just say that here for the record. But at the time of COVID first being announced, my brother and I decided we sat and had a very logical conversation, and we sat and said, we're two young fighting age males. If COVID can kill us, then the world is over. It's zombie apocalypse time. So there's no point hiding. We may as well go out with a bang. So my brother and I flew to Stockholm, Sweden.
Sick.
Now, I don't know if many people know this, but Sweden never closed down.
Yo, just a quick one. I flew to Cancun, Mexico during lockdown in 2021. This was like March 2021. Man went to Cancun from London straight. Had a letter from my company, which is my own company, saying I need to go and see real estate out there because I'm investing in the Airbnb tourism market. I turned up to the airport. I was flying British Airways. There were gunned police officers, customs officers standing there before you check in, questioning, where are you going? Why are you leaving? Show me the letters. Show me proof. Talk to me about your business. They were asking me deep questions about my business. Anyway, finally, I got on that flight. I went to Cancun and I was, for the record, I was doing business, but I was also raving and dancing and partying with some beautiful women for 3 months in Tulum in Mexico, by the way. That was where I ended up actually buying some real estate. So these boys went to Sweden and I went to Cancun. So really, if you are a top G, you're not sticking around in lockdown because you're like, hold on a second. I'm not supposed to, I don't need to be here. I've got the resources to go somewhere I want to go to. And Mexico was completely open. They weren't doing that. They didn't care about COVID. They need the money. And so Sweden stayed open. Said that would have been a good option for me. But instead I decided I wanted to go and get some beautiful sunshine. And that's why I went to Mexico. So fair enough. These boys did the same thing. I wish I'd gone to Sweden and met up with them for a drink. That would have been jokes, cuz.
Stockholm and Sweden never closed down, never made you wear masks, never mandated the vaccine. At the very beginning of COVID, when the rules were strictest, when Florida was still closed, when Miami was still closed, when the Republican states were still closed, Stockholm, Sweden was wide open with full nightclubs and a party scene like you've never seen. And we lived in Sweden for 3 solid months.
Sick.
With zero restrictions, zero worry or interest in COVID. It was like the world was completely normal. And from there, when we left, obviously COVID was still going on. And in a neighboring country, you go to Germany, and they were having full panic attacks, genuine panic attacks if you didn't have a mask on. And it was just very obvious to me. I was like, I've spent the last 3 months ignoring this and I'm fine. And now I'm in Germany surrounded by panic attacks and endless math. This doesn't make sense. And I told the truth on social media. I said, this is obviously an overreaction. The decimation of your income, the fact you can't go get a doctor's appointment for a genuine ailment or a genuine risk of cancer, for example, the fact that you can't see your loved ones in their final days, these things are far more destructive than the common cold. I think that what they're doing is unfair. I think it's a massive overreaction. And this is based on my personal experience. And I think at the time there was a lot of pushback, but I would like to think now that 99% of the world see I was totally right.
Yeah, to be fair, you could say that the COVID lockdowns were an overreaction. I mean, it was crazy what they did to the world. But this is the problem. If you step up and start saying stuff that's against the public agenda, you're probably likely to get cancelled. And this is what I mean. Like, I don't know if freedom of speech actually exists, by the way. And as you can see with Tate being locked off all of these big, massive platforms, this just clearly goes to show that freedom of speech doesn't actually exist. If the President of the United States, Donald Trump, can be locked off Twitter, freedom of speech, my ass. Like, of course not. You're going to be shut down if you're going against the general agenda and you piss enough people off. Is that right or is that wrong? I don't know the answer to that question. I'm not Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad to sit here and say that's what we should be doing as a society. I do believe everyone should have a right to speak, but at the same time, some people can actually be destructive to society and probably should be silenced. I don't know if this guy should have been silenced. I think it was a little bit unfair, if I'm completely honest, to silence this guy. Especially the way he's talking now. He's talking really calmly, and I have to say, like, he seems to have come a long way in the last few weeks, where he's being a lot more humble. He's like, yo, I don't know why I got shut down. This is the facts. This is what I was saying. You know, like, I just said COVID was an overreaction. But then again, I haven't seen his videos during COVID, so I don't know how extreme he was.
You know, it's kind of funny, Tucker. I'll tell you, when at the height of COVID, I used to say to my brother, how will people struggle with the cognitive dissonance when this is all over? Because COVID is still out there. Nothing's gone away. The thing that we were all hiding from is still right there, out there to get you. But now everyone walks around and they're not scared of it anymore. And I'm like, are people critical enough to analyze themselves and say, for a year of my life, I was deathly afraid of something. Now I'm exposing myself to said thing and I'm not afraid anymore. The media tricked me and I was a fool. But they're not. They don't even seem to self-analyze and go, I got tricked. They're just like, oh, okay, next thing. Hey, Andrew now. Like,
Yeah, it's true, man. I mean, I had friends during COVID who were so scared they wouldn't even meet up with me. I was like, why are you guys being, like, so scared, man? Like, stop being such a pussy, bro. Like, you're not going to die if you meet up with me. So I had friends who were so scared. My parents were so scared. The media agenda was just forcing this down your throat. Like, be careful, don't meet up. And like, my friends were so scared. I was like, dude, I'm getting on the plane. I'm going to Cancun. I'm going to rave. I'm going to drink tequila and party for 6 hours and go raving with some beautiful women, like, and sit on a beach and build my business, which is exactly what I went and did. So he's speaking facts again. Like, most people don't want to speak out against the media or even question the way society runs. And this guy's turned up and he's now questioning the way society is operating and kind of going against the grain. And the general public don't like that. But it seems as though he has captured the hearts and the minds of these young kiddos, these young men, you know, 18 up to 25, up to even 30. Man, I'm mid-30s. I'm sitting here listening to this. I'm like, bro, you're right. Like, men are overlooked in today's day and age. They don't want to sit here and watch transgender people all day long on TikTok. Like, they actually want to see a G with a nice car who gets loads of women, who's got a great business, who's got money, who's got brothers, who parties, who does this, who lives the full stack male life. And he seems to live that full stack male life, or certainly he gives that impression. And that's what men want to see. Like, I want to see that. I do that too, just not at his level.
robots. It's mind-bending to me, truly.
So I saw you compare the experience of rich people under COVID, you're one of them, to everybody else. What did you notice about that? It seemed like a two-tiered response.
Yeah, so the story was very simple. I was flying inside of Europe. There's a lot of low-cost air air carriers. It's only low cost primarily. There's not much first class, business class, anything like that. And I was flying, and my experience was plagued by endless paperwork, wearing a mask, put the mask over your nose. Every time you eat, you have to put the mask on in between. I got told off for not having the mask up high enough. I got told off for drinking too long because my mask wasn't on. Pure panic and chaos. And because I'm fortunate enough to be fiscally secure, from there I decided I'll just buy private jets from now on. And when I bought a private jet, there was no masks, no paperwork, no mask at the airport. When I landed, my air stewardess was not wearing a mask. My pilot was not wearing a mask. COVID didn't exist once I bought a private jet. Very interesting. Maybe if you're rich enough, COVID can't take, maybe COVID's scared of money. I'm not sure. But it seems that everyone who's flying on private jets never had to worry about COVID ever. It's just the people at the bottom who had to worry about COVID. And it's kind of interesting, right? Life's always been two-tiered. There's always been this separation in regards to fiscal access. But I think a lot of people in the world today don't realize that it still very much exists. And a lot of the rules are only the rules for a certain class.
The divide between rich and poor is getting even bigger. Now, with a recession coming in, with gas prices really high in Europe, with interest rates going up, the poor are only going to get poorer. They're getting squeezed out. While the rich, guess what? They get richer because they got the cash. They can buy that house that the poor guy can't afford to make payments on. They can buy those businesses that are struggling. All that's going to happen now is rich people are going to make even more money and the poor people are going to be squeezed even more for their income. The divide's getting worse, when apparently we've got all these systems and structures in place to make sure that doesn't happen. Don't know, man. Don't know if I really believe that the system is made equal and completely fair, as Tate is saying.
People, and once you pass a certain wealth index or a certain level of money, that you can do basically whatever you want. And COVID really highlighted that to me, and it's truly sad. I mean, it's easy for me to make a joke of it, but when I would fly on a private jet and do whatever I wanted, or go to Sweden and party in nightclubs and do whatever I wanted, and then I'd come to, let's say, England and see my friend who couldn't go see his dying grandmother because of a COVID restriction.
Yep.
That's truly sad. That's truly criminal. It's really crazy what's happened and how the world's just moved on, and the cognitive dissonance that people don't have enough respect for themselves and for the truth to analyze how they were so easily fooled. It's really sad to even think about, but maybe that was the beginning of me being disliked, by just pointing out my human experiences during the pandemic. But I want to tell you something
Pandemic.
that's actually kind of scary about this banning. It all came so hard and so fast that I don't know if they all just follow each other. I don't know if they're all influenced by each other. I don't know if there's someone above them all. I don't know. But when they go to cancel you, ladies and gentlemen, it comes hard and fast. You lose your Facebook, then your Instagram, then your Gmail, then your Discord, then your website hosting, then your domain name.
Wow.
Then your payment processor, then your bank. Then it's just like in real time, you're watching your phone and apps just exploding. Boom,
wow.
Boom, boom. It's crazy.
Andrew Tate, you don't have to agree with everything a man says to believe he has a right to speak in public. And we do believe that. No one gets to tell you who you can watch. No one gets to tell you what you have to think. No one gets to tell you who you have to hate. You're an American and an adult. You can make those decisions yourself.
America, baby, land of the free. Tucker Carlson, this is what he stands up for. This is so American, this last bit. Nobody has to tell you who you're supposed to like, what you're supposed to hate. Anyway, he's funny.
So why don't they want you to hear from Andrew Tate? They really think he's a worse influence on the youth than, say, Cardi B. Tell us how. They're telling us he's a criminal. Okay. Has he been charged?
You gotta love these right-wing news channels. It's true, Cardi B is no nice influence on people. Talking about booty shaking and all this shit. I'm a gangster, I take their money. It's like, what kind of shit is that for kids? Like, you call it entertainment? That's spoiling the brains of our youth. Showing people that being a stripper and throwing some money around and taking this guy's money is supposed to be like, it's BS. Cardi B is BS. Genuinely, I don't want everyone to think I'm right wing here, but I'm kind of agreeing with what Tucker Carlson is saying. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to just completely cancel people, right? America is land of the free, freedom of speech. You're supposed to be able to speak up. So why did Tate get knocked off? And why is someone like Cardi B so well respected? Facts, man. That chick is singing about all sorts of BS which isn't great for the youth of our society. It's certainly not setting a nice standard or a nice example.
Who are the victims? What are their names? It's going to take a lot more than that to have us believe he should be canceled, or anyone else, by the way. We're against censorship, period. And more than anything, we're in favor of people making up their own minds based on the evidence, like adults do. So if you're interested, you can watch the full unedited interview with Andrew Tate after the show on Fox Nation. Of course, Tate's not the only person who's being censored. Virtually everyone's being censored. The Pentagon now punishing service members for liking the wrong tweets.
Well, that was insightful. To sum up, my conclusive thoughts are, I have to say, after reading all the comments from you guys on my YouTube and on my TikTok, like, a lot of you young men are supporting Tate, and I was a bit confused as to like which direction I was taking. After this interview, I have to say I've got more respect for the guy. I think he's being quite honest and quite humble and quite open. I think he's been certainly very humble since he got completely cancelled across all platforms. It must be pretty crazy to lose all your social media, your website hosting. I mean, if this happened to me and I got like completely shut down, I'd hate it. It'd be horrible. So I sympathize with the guy. I also sympathize with you fellas that have been making these comments and standing up for him and supporting him. If he does truly make you feel motivated to get up off your ass and to build a better life for yourselves, then that's great. Then he's certainly doing his job. And I would love to also do the same thing as Andrew Tate and instill a motivation and a confidence in you fellas to show you that you can make it. You know, I was a nobody. I was literally a nobody at 15, 16 years old. My family weren't rich. I mean, I wasn't necessarily poor. I came from a comfortable family who were okay, who kind of got by. My dad took out a loan to send me to a school because I was at such a rough gangster school. I was getting beaten up every day. You know, I came out of that on the bright side. I worked hard. I built a business. I got jobs. I hustled. I hit the gym hard. I trained. I made sure I had good friends. I approached loads of beautiful women. And then you learn from these things. You know, you learn, you develop. And so if Tate is also instilling that mindset into you, then great. Great, that's what we want. Unfortunately, he's now been taken off these platforms. I know he's now moved on to Rumble, apparently. I haven't downloaded Rumble. I don't know what that's all about. I'd like to check it out. But I think more men need to stand up and represent this cause. Men are being drowned out in society. I have to say, like, you know, there's testosterone levels have been falling the last 30, 40 years. Men are not men anymore, man. Men are turning into women. Literally. Like, it's crazy. And if you speak to women, I speak to all my girls, I speak to beautiful chicks, and they're telling me there's no real men left. Men don't act like men. Men don't approach me. Men don't know how to talk to me. Men don't tell me straight. So there's definitely still a need for strong masculine men. And listen, there's a difference between strong masculine men and misogynists. No one's sitting there talking about misogynist. Misogynist is a strong term to use. That's like you saying you're better than women. No one is sitting here, not me or nor Tate, saying we are better than women. No, we're just different to women. We have masculine energy, they have feminine energy. They bring something beautiful to the table. Women are better at looking after kids. Women are emotionally intelligent. Women are soft, supportive. Like, a female touch in a house is a beautiful thing. Men bring something else. Men bring strength, like leadership. Not to say women can't also be leaders. Look in the world today. Fine, we have leaders of all sorts. We also have women in leadership positions. But I just think, you know, the left agenda maybe has gone too far. I don't know where I sit on the political scale. I don't care about the political scale. It's like Tate says, you know, he's not into his politics. He's just saying shit how it is. So I certainly have started to feel a little bit more sympathy towards the guy. It's funny because most of the comments on my Instagram, TikTok, the women are like 100% he should be cancelled, and the men are like, yo, this guy motivated me to actually get up off my ass. So yeah, certainly have more sympathy towards his position, and I feel like men do need to step up. There needs to be more leaders. If he's getting cancelled, then who's next? Who's the next guy to step up and lead the charge for the men? I will do my best to support you, brothers. I will do my best to push my agenda. And I will do my best to fulfill my purpose and my mission, and to help men in this world grow and to become better men and to become wealthier and to become more ripped and to become gentlemen, to know how to treat women, to treat them well. Fine, you know, there is space for feminism in this world, but that doesn't mean that we have to have transgender and pride and everything stuffed down our throats on a consistent basis. We need to live in a nice, well-balanced society where you have men, you have women, you have transgender, you have all of these things, but everyone is playing their role. Anyway, brothers, hope you enjoyed that one. Look forward to doing more of this stuff in the future. Peace.